Last year, the next step is to get to the Super Bowl. And so we understood that going into this season, but we know it's a long season. We know it's a process. We know that day by day we have to get better. And I think that's what this team is great at, is just getting better every single day and then going out and fighting to the end every single opportunity we get.
Nick, is there any chance, any chance at all, that the Chiefs could lose this game against Tennessee?
No. And I know some reaction might be, wait, they played a couple months ago and the Titans beat them. And they did. And it wasn't, Mahomes was back and Mahomes was sensational. And the Chiefs still lost that game. Different teams, different situations. One, that game was in Tennessee. Secondarily, Derrick Henry was excellent in that game, but not the reason why Tennessee won the game. Despite him being excellent, Tennessee was dead. They were 4th and 17, failed, Chiefs ball, down 5, minute 55 left, and then everything but yakety sack started playing for the Kansas City Chiefs as they invented a way to lose that football game. But I want to talk about Derrick Henry for a moment, because I know what people say. Oh, the path is the Titans win time of possession, Titans run the football, Chiefs can't get on the field. While Derrick Henry has been on this historic run, the Titans have not been winning time of possession. They are, since week 10, second lowest time of possession in football. It's odd. It's not what you would think. You would think they're running the ball, but that's not the case. What is the case is on their scoring drives, they're having long, drawn-out drives, but also having a lot of 3-and-outs mixed in there. And as the Chiefs demonstrated 2 days ago, with their offense clicking the way it is, you better get to 30. And the Titans are not going to get to 30 on the legs of Derrick Henry. They are going to have to try to get to 30 on the arm of Ryan Tannehill. And to that I say, good luck. And if you do it, I will tip my cap to you. The Chiefs right now are the best team in the NFL. The Titans are coming off an excellent 3-game stretch. And this is where it ends this weekend. In the game they beat the Chiefs earlier this year, there's a defensive score. There were the odd stuff at the end. It's not duplicable. What the Chiefs did against the Texans is duplicable in this regard. Just keep scoring touchdowns. Have the best quarterback with the best skill position talent in football. Keep scoring touchdowns. Canty, the only way I think you can slow down the Chiefs' offense is if you have a dominant pass rush. I don't think it's about whether you play man or zone, because you don't have enough people to double Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. That's what happened with Houston. The Titans do not have a dominant pass rush. I don't see their path to victory.
They didn't have a dominant pass rush throughout the regular season, but their pass rush looked pretty good on Saturday night against Lamar Jackson and that Ravens offense. And I'm with you in terms of the Titans, with their path to victory has to be trying to win time of possession. More importantly, limiting the possessions of the Kansas City Chiefs, because if you talk about the Chiefs having double-digit drives in this game, then you're probably talking about a Titans L and the Chiefs punching their ticket to go to Super Bowl 54. But in terms of what they've done well since they've gotten into the postseason, the Titans have been incredibly opportunistic. You look at their win last week against Baltimore, and on every turnover that Baltimore had, they capitalized and they scored touchdowns, whether it were takeaways or turnovers on downs. The Titans took advantage of it. The 4th down stop in the second quarter, what did their offensive coordinator do the play after that? Shot over the top to Khalif Raymond for a touchdown. So I think you're going to have to sprinkle in some explosive plays in the passing game, coupled with what Derrick Henry has done. But I mean, this is a pretty formidable Titans group. I think when you match up the two teams, clearly the Titans win with physicality, and I do believe that bodes well for people once you get to playoff-style football. So the more physical team is going to have to impose their will on the opposing team and the complexion of this game. If Tennessee can dictate that, then I think they got a puncher's chance.
A lot of pressure on Tennessee's pass defense as well. This is a much more well-rounded offense than you saw with the Patriots or with the Ravens.
Well, it's certainly more dangerous. The one good thing that happened early in the Texans game for the Chiefs is it forced them to abandon the running game. So I wouldn't necessarily call the Chiefs' offense well-balanced. I would call it just dynamic. And the Chiefs should not be screwing around running the football. No. The best rusher they had this weekend was Patrick Mahomes on pass plays where he had man coverage, saw everybody's backs to him, and just ran the football. It would be a mistake if the Chiefs try to run a balanced offensive attack. Do what you do best. All of these highlights. Have the best player in the NFL throw to the fastest players in the NFL and go up and down the field. And the other question I have for the Titans is this. Derrick Henry already has had the greatest 3-game stretch in the history of the NFL. Nobody's ever had 180 yards rushing in 3 consecutive games. Not only has he done it in 3 consecutive games, they've been 3 consecutive win-or-go-home games. Week 17 against the Texans' backups was a de facto playoff game for them because they could have not made the playoffs depending on what happened in the rest of the bracket. They went into that game thinking we had to win to get in. And then obviously the playoff games are win-or-go-home games. I think Derrick Henry is sensational, and he's either going to get hit with a franchise tag or a big payday this summer, and I'm happy for him. How much does he have left in the tank? 96 carries in the last 19 days, right? Like, how much realistically, 588 yards, 6 yards per carry, is he going to, after already having the greatest 3-game stretch we've ever seen, is he going to tack onto that? At some point, he slows down a bit, and I think he's going to be forced to slow down because it is hard to run the football and play the style they want to play if you're trailing. And they in this 3-game stretch, Canty, I look at it, they have beaten 1 dynamic offense, Baltimore, and in that game, their defense forced Baltimore out of its dynamic abilities.
Sure.
The Texans can be a dynamic offense, but they were playing their backups in Week 17. The Patriots offense been bad all year long, and so they haven't faced a challenge like this since they've been this version of the Tennessee Titans.
No, they haven't faced a challenge like this. This is probably the single most explosive offense in the NFL. I liken them to the greatest show on turf if you go back to 2000, 2001, and I really feel like this game is sort of that type of matchup, what we saw in that Super Bowl between the Rams and the Patriots. This game is almost going to be a referendum on the modern game of football, whether it's about the run game or being able to throw the football and air it out. So I look at the 2 contrasting styles of the teams offensively, and the one thing I will say, even though I feel like the Chiefs have a huge advantage in terms of personnel, the offensive line for the Titans is playing better than almost any other offensive line in the National Football League. I know that the 49ers rung up almost 200 yards against the Minnesota Vikings front 7, but this offensive line for the Titans and what they've been able to do, being able to reestablish the line of scrimmage, not allowing first contact on Derrick Henry until he's beyond the line of scrimmage, I think that's why their run game has been so effective. And if the Chiefs don't have an answer in terms of being able to slow him down, if they can't make Derrick Henry stop and start in the backfield, then you've got a 250-pound running back downhill on your second-level defenders, and that's not a recipe for success in terms of being able to stop this Titans offense. So this Chiefs defense, they better bring their hard hats because they're going to get tested, and Mike Vrabel is not going to go away from the strength of his team, which is the offensive line and the defensive line.
I waited my whole life to place my first bet in the NFL. Should this be the one?
Yes.
Guaranteed?
Chiefs -7.
Chiefs -7. Just go online and Google
What happened the last time the Titans went to Arrowhead? What happened?
Coming up is Russell Wilson in the same class as Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. That's next on First Things First.
Go to the Cincinnati Bengals, and not a lot of high draft picks in Cincinnati end up realizing their full potential. But what Joe Burrow has done this season is nothing short of amazing. And then putting his team in position to be able to compete and win the national championship in the same year where he wins the Heisman and sets the single-season record for most passing touchdowns, that's as impressive as we've seen from any quarterback in recent memory in college football. So what this LSU Tigers team has been able to do this entire season, I mean, just to be as dominant as they have been. They started out with a game down in Texas against a top 10 opponent, and it was a little bit of a back and forth in the first half, but I think they showed that they were going to be a different offense this year, just the level of explosiveness that they were going to have. And then the job that Ed Orgeron has done, being able to go out and get Steve Esminger and Joe Brady to revolutionize that offensive attack and taking advantage of the 5-star recruits that they have been stockpiling down in Baton Rouge. When you have Jamar Chase and you have Justin Jefferson and you have Terrence Mitchell, and you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, when you have that kind of talent with your skill positions, and then you have a player that has the football IQ like Joe Burrow, I mean, that's a deadly combination, and they rode that all the way to a national championship.
I want to start with this. I'm incredibly happy for Coach O. I'm happy for those kids at LSU. Coach O was laughed at when he got this job, and he has never changed who he is. He's never code switched. He's never done anything. He's been who he is, and now he's an undefeated national champion, the coach of one of the, by the way, this is the first team in at least recent memory, maybe ever, to go 4-0 against the preseason AP top 4. They beat Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, and Clemson. And by the way, they beat them by an average of 21 points. I didn't think they were going to win yesterday. I thought Clemson had been flying